Hello class, this lecture video will cover the structure for your visual analysis essay. What you see in front of you is what we would call the informal outline. They work well to begin with, and sometimes students do well with those, but they're very brief and they don't provide a lot of information, so you will have to constantly refer back to your notes. You want to always have your notes readily available, but this will give you a foundation, but you may want to consider using what I call the formal outline, which is what I have here. With the formal outline, it's much more detailed. You tend to work with complete sentences, and it gives you more of a foundation to begin your analysis. So in your introduction, what I have here is that you should have 1 to 2 paragraphs. I personally will have 2 paragraphs because I will talk in one brief paragraph about the Roe civil disobedience, because I will be referring to it quite a bit in my analysis, and then a discussion of Warren Lord's graphic novel, and then a very brief synopsis of the movie. And your paragraphs, your introductory paragraphs, should be very, very brief. They should not be very long. They should not take up no more than a third of your first page. Anything longer than that is too much, so you need to chop it down. Your body paragraph should focus on specific visual concepts and ideas. And you see that I have each one of my paragraphs labeled. I have complete sentences. I have my grounds, my backing, my warrant. And I only did that for the first one because I want you to see how easy it is to use the detailed outline versus the informal outline. So I only did it with the first one, but even with my other body paragraphs, I did provide complete grounds. Remember, your grounds or your reasons that help to validate your claim. And I want to go ahead and have those clearly stated. So as I begin drafting my paper, I can always just copy and paste that and put that in my essay, which makes it easier to build your essay and to make sure that your essay is developed. So that's one of the main reasons why I like using the formal outline. Another great thing about using the formal outline is if you are using complete sentences and that you are just filling in the information that's necessary, like I have here in this paragraph, it's easy for you to just copy it and paste it into your draft. So again, it's less work for you. So as you plan, you're thorough in your planning, so that way when you start drafting and revise, you're frustrated. So at the very bottom, I went ahead and copied it and I pasted it here. So here's a complete paragraph, only with the information I've provided with my outline. And I have 137 words in this one paragraph. And again, the words that you see highlighted, you do not need to do for your paper, but I do them as I'm drafting because it helps me to see how everything is connected. So when I read it, I can see how everything works together. And once I read it, I can see where I need to add more information, where I may need to take things out, and that's the revising part of the process. So again, you want to go through the writing process. You want to plan, you want to draft, you want to revise, and then you want to edit last. Editing is the last part that you should worry yourself about. So I'm going to read this aloud and see if you hear any gaps in my critique. As the camera shifts from one place to another, moviegoers can identify humanity's passivity and dependency. Through V's speech, the camera shows the shifting of consciousness, but juxtaposed to the character's emotional shift is the government's aggressive tactical response. Writer James R. Keller suggests that the film warns against the willful sacrifice of civil liberties in pursuit of safety from terrorism, suggesting that such concessions may ultimately necessitate protection from the protectors. For those who are in power, particularly those working for the government, see V as a threat to the system they have established. Because of the character's shifting consciousness, the government's first response is violence. Yet, seeing the characters, both young and old, white collar and blue collar, finding commonality in their outrage of the government machine can instigate a revolution and therefore hope. Now, even as I read that, I noticed that I have a gap between my source and my connection here. I need more of a connection between what I'm suggesting here with this information and how it relates back to my overall claim and grounds. So I know I need to fix that when I go to the revision process. But again, I'm not going to worry about it at this point because I'm only drafting. So again, you plan, you draft, then you go back and revise, and then you look for superficial errors when you edit. So this is one of the reasons why I like the formal outline, because it gives me much more foundation. It's less work on the back end, and it helps me to see how everything connects together. I hope this video helps you with the process of planning and drafting your essay. But if you have questions, feel free to contact me anytime.